it's one of our fundamental basics, and I would say probably our most fundamental stance. It's the mother of all our stances. And it's been used for millennia in self-defense and in health exercises as well. But it's important to get the structure right of the stance, because what it does is it gives you stability. And the other thing that it does is it strengthens your legs. So if you haven't quite got the structure right, then it's going to become weak and could well fail under stress of combat. So it's important that we get the stance right when we do this. So first of all, we need to understand how do we find the correct distance between our feet. And this varies between different styles. If you look at some Kung Fu styles, the stances will be wider, some karate styles are wider, and other styles will do shorter distances. But our standard is that we learn to get the right distance between our feet by opening the horse, okay? And it's an old exercise, and what you do is you have your feet together, and you pivot on your heels as far as you can, pivot on the balls of your feet as far as you can, and then straighten up your feet. So there's roughly the distance, and then you bend your knees and sit in stance, okay? So that's what gives you the distance between your feet. Make sure that you turn your heels out as far as you can, and then your toes, and then straighten off. Weight distribution of a horse stance is 50-50. And you should have your weight more on the front of the foot, more around the balls of the foot, rather than being flat-footed, okay? Now, one of the other things that's important with the horse stance is that when we take up position, you don't have your bottom sticking out. Okay, we're looking to have what's called anchoring your buttocks, tucked in, your back straight, and your head up, so your back is straight. So one of the benefits of doing the horse stance regularly, of course, is helping you with your posture. Now, one of the other things about this is that if I was pushed from the front, I would not have much stability. But if I'm pushed from the side, then I have the depth of the stance to withstand what's coming there. So a side fighting horse position is a very useful stance to use, because it cuts down on the amount of target that we are presenting to the opponent. When you stand in your horse stance, there's some common things that happen. If you look at the position of my knees, they are inside the feet. So if I took a shot to my knee, it would buckle very easily. So I need to create, like, you know, if you look at a bridge and you have an arch, it's the arch shape that gives the bridge its strength. So we have to create that with our legs. Then you have this arch, so you push your knees out over your feet. Okay, so this then becomes a lot stronger, so it becomes almost like a dome. Okay? One of the other things is that in the early stages we'll teach you to have your feet parallel, but if you want to start to root and to grip the floor, what you really need to do is to stand slightly pigeon-toed. So your toes slightly coming in. And push your knees out and grip the floor with your toes. Excuse me. So what this does is it gives you, it starts to give you a root, a real stability. And the other thing that you need to do then is how do you find the height of the stance? And for me, the correct way to find the height is that I relax my leg muscles and I just sit. So the tendons and the sinews take over in the legs rather than having my muscles support me. Now, you can use a high horse stance, which gives you more mobility, or you can use the lower horse stance, which gives you more stability. So it depends on what situation you're in and how you want to use the stance. You have to be fluid with that. For training the legs and for working your basics, then you need to be working the lower stances, because what happens is it gives you strength in the legs, and you're learning that stability thing as well. Okay? Make sure that your back is straight and your shoulders are relaxed as well. So if I'm in this fighting position, side fighting stance, you need to make sure your back is straight, your bottom's in, and your hands are in position. Okay? Push your knees out for that strength. If you're in combat and you get kicked in the leg, you need to be strong in that stance. Okay? So this construction, this engineering is going to give you that strength. Doesn't mean to say that you have to stay static in that stance, certainly not, because you need to be fluid and be able to move around, go into high horses or neutrals, and go through all those transitions of whatever you need in terms of footwork. But then when it comes to the time that you need strength, then do the stance right. When you're working your forms, it's really important to ensure that you do the stance properly. Like, if you end up in the isolation at the end of long one, you don't want to be sort of stood like this. Get down in the stance, sit there, feel nice and strong, so that when you're doing this stuff, you are rooted and you're down, okay? Rather than going like this, sit strong, grip the floor, feel rooted to the floor, okay? So what that also does is that works on your confidence with your training, because you feel strong with that, and it does help you focus and develop your engineering of the rest of your basics, okay? So there's a few points for you with the horse stance. Thank you.